fucking Carrie Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of and a live stream of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'm your host, Chris Avalon, and for I don't know how long, depending on how long we get through these topics, we'll be sitting up here talking about all the latest in celebrity news, gossip, entertainment news, anything that has to go on and do with celebrity news and gossip or things that's going on in the entertainment industry. We talk about it on this here show. There's also an interactive talk show. So if you happen to have any thoughts that pop in your head regarding any of the following topics, please do so by leaving your comments down below, and I will read them as we proceed with a lot of the topics. And some of the topics that we got coming up in this here show is, the Oscars debut. Let me, it finally happened. So we're at the end of award season. Finally, we're, already in March. Oscars happened last night. I'm going to talk about the highlights and all that good stuff that happened in regards of all the award winners. Child, it was predictable except for maybe one or two, but we're going to talk about it. So we got that. We're going to talk about the Razzies because that happened also. So we got to talk about the best and the worst in Hollywood. Angela Bassett is talking about, when she was overlooked for winning the Black Panther Oscar, which went to Jamie Lee Curtis. So we're going to talk about that. She sat down with Oprah and talked about it. Plus, Bad Bunny, who was at the Oscars last night, is suing a fan for posting concert footage from his tour on YouTube. What does this mean if he could actually go through with this trial? Does that mean that everybody, is about to get sued up out here in these streets? We're going to talk about it. Plus, Ariana Grande, who was also at the Oscars last night, apparently, is sending out an APB to her fans to stop sending hateful messages to the men that she's been, running through in her life. Meanwhile, you know, I've been seeing like a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to her not closing her legs to no married man, because this ain't the first time she done messed with somebody while they was with somebody else. Alicia Keys has been getting astray, but Ariana Grande seems to kind of get away unscathed in the situation. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, yeah, I don't know if y'all heard, but Michael Jackson has a biopic that's currently being filmed by Antoine Fuqua. They did mention it a little bit at the Oscars last night because Coleman Domingo is playing Joe Jackson. So there's some tea about the alleged script has been leaked online. And so we're going to break down and talk about some of the stuff that they're talking about is going to be up in that script. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, there is a Hollywood writer producer who has been charged with drugging and sexually assaulting a up and coming writer who he took up under his wing. He has written for a lot of shows that a couple of well, I'm sure that probably everybody watching has seen these shows one way or another. So we're gonna talk about that because look, Diddy and them can't all get the straight. We gotta talk about everybody in this industry. Plus, Madonna is apologizing over a snafu that she made at her concert, trying to tell a person in a wheelchair to stand their ass up. I did cackle a bit when I saw that. It wasn't Terry Joe, because Terry Joe stood her ass up at one of her events, but when, during the Vogue performance. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Lil Nas X got a new song coming out. A lot of people are mad over some of the explicit content that's up in it, and they're saying that he's trolling, the usual typical stuff. I got my thoughts on that. Plus, Northwest coming out with a damn album. And I did read some of the comments on my Facebook when I post. Y'all are shady as fuck. But we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna try to be nice because I don't want to go too harsh at the kids. But look, if y'all want to come out here and put y'all shit out on Jump Street, we gotta, fair is fair, all is fair in love and war. We gotta talk about it on this show. And Drea, we talked about her in the last show. Child, um, she's facing backlash over her being damn near 40, getting pregnant by a 22-year-old, somebody who's literally in the same age range as her son. She's defending her decision and all the other stuff. She's unbothered apparently, but so unbothered she had to take to social media and tell us how unbothered she is. So those are the topics. Plus, whatever y'all come up with that you want me to address and stuff real quick, because I might have forgot. There are some things that I didn't want to mention, but I forgot. Be sure to leave it down in the comments. But anyway, without further ado, because we're already 5 minutes into the show, let me hit my banner. And let's get to these following topics. So, oh my gosh, let me close this because my YouTube is open too. Okay, so the day before the Oscars was the Razzies. The nominations came out the day before the actual nominations for the Oscars. They always do that every year. And then when the Oscars airs the day before, we get the Razzies. So I don't know if anybody should be surprised by these, but the infamous Razzie Awards, happened, and they, where they dishonor the year's worst in film. So Shout out to the Hollywood Reporter for this story. The big winners were Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It won all 5 categories for which it was nominated at the 2024 Golden Raspberry Awards on Saturday. The awards, known as the Razzies, honor the worst in Hollywood's year and are held on Oscars Eve, the day before the Academy Awards, which I just pretty much said. So, comics Aaron Goldenberg and Jake Jones, known professionally as the Mean Gays. Sidebar: I actually saw a play called The Mean Gays in LA when I lived out there a couple of years ago. It was done by it was a funny ass play. Who was in that? I think Willem was in it. Um Kim Chi, was a bunch of people. But anyway, that's where I got the Mean Gays thing from. But anyway, so let's get to the situation. So yeah, the Mean Gays was hosted and as well as they wrote and produced it. Retitled The Mean Gays Take Over the 44th Razzies. Now, while Sunday's Academy Awards will celebrate Christopher Nolan's landmark drama, we'll get into Oppenheimer and all the wins and stuff, and Barbenheimer and all that other stuff in a second after I'm done with this. It says that the Razzies focus on lesser seen fare, like the fourth Expendables movie, which also won a lot of awards, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is basically a horror adaptation of Winnie the Pooh. So they said that Blood and Honey practically swept the Razzies, winning Worst Picture, Director, and Screenplay by, I think his name is Reese Frake Waterfield, Screen Couple, Pooh and Piglet, and Remake Ripoff Sequel. Sylvester Stallone and Megan Fox won the Supporting Actor categories for Expendables, and Fox took home the Lead Actress prize for Johnny and Clyde. Jon Voight won Worst Actor for Mercy. Well, Jon Voight should always win Worst Actor because he's a horrible fucking human being. Shout out to Angelina and him being a damn Trump supporter, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So it also says the release also added that Stallone's win further cemented his claim to being the all-time Razzie champion. Is that how we say it, champion? In more rose-colored news, the Razzie Redeemer Award given to a past contender who has since gone on to better things went to SAG-AFTRA president Fran Drescher for her brilliant shepherding of the Actors Guild through a prolonged 2023 strike with a highly successful conclusion. Now, winners, as with the nominations, were selected by Razzie voters comprising 1,179 movie buffs, film critics, and journalists from 49 U.S. states and 24 foreign countries. Why does it feel like the Hollywood Foreign Press was kind of involved with this? Because it's like y'all trying to say all these industry people are the ones that's voting. So I can understand like Worst picture going to Winnie the Pooh. Worst actor going to Jon Voight. Worst actress going to Megan Fox for Johnny and Clyde. Worst supporting actors going to Megan Fox for Expendables 4. Worst supporting actor Sylvester Stallone, Expendables 4. Worst screen couple Pooh and Piglet for Blood and Honey. Worst prequel remake ripoff a sequel going to Winnie the Pooh. Worst director going to Winnie the Pooh. Worst screenplay going to Winnie the Pooh. And Razzie Redeemer going to Fran Drescher. So it was a pretty short ceremony. It wasn't as short as the Oscars because the Oscars was what? Okay, so I watched it on Hulu earlier, and it was 2.5 hours. So that means it was over 3 hours with the commercials. Thank God I have streaming because if I had to sit through all them damn commercials, I'd have to stab somebody. But anyway, so congratulations to all the Razzie winners. I wasn't surprised that Expendables won because I heard how bad it was. Why did they give 50 Cent an award? Or did he barely have a lot of scenes in there? I don't know. I ain't seen the movie. I have no intention of seeing the movie. I always liked the Expendables and what they could have brought with that franchise, but I feel like after the first one, it just kind of well, the second one I actually kind of liked too because they had Arnold Schwarzenegger and everybody up in there. And I think Jean-Claude Van Damme was the villain. But once y'all brought in Mel Gibson and all the other fools, I was like, okay, y'all getting stupid with this damn franchise. So the third and the fourth, the third one I did not like. The fourth one, I seen the trailer and then I read all the reviews. I said, I am not wasting my time watching this foolishness. But anyway, I say all that to say congratulations to all the losers who won a Razzie. Okay, so now let's go from that and get into these Oscars. So congratulations to all the big winners last night. I think it was pretty much predictable who was going to win. So um, Christopher Nolan and his Oppenheimer movie won 7 Oscars. And they said that this was the biggest film to win that amount of awards since Slumdog Millionaire, snagged 8 like 15 years ago. So Oppenheimer won for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor went to Cillian Murphy, And he's actually the first Irish winner. There was a lot of firsts last night, and it's like, child, why are we still in 2023? The Oscars almost 100 years old, and we still got a bunch of damn firsts. It would have been nice sidebar to see um Killers of the Flower Moon win. What was the actress's name? Um, excuse me. I would love to have seen her win, and Lily Gladstone. I would have really have loved to have seen her win the Oscar, but her Oscar went to, well, the Oscar for Best Actress went to Emma Stone, and she's 35 years old with two Oscars. What did she win for? La La Land? I think she did win for La La Land, and I saw that 100 years ago. It's funny how when that movie came out, I was like, that movie is so damn overrated. But I knew people who love that freaking movie and have watched it so many times. I'm like, child, this movie is not as whatever. But if you like it, I love it. Maybe because I don't like movie musicals. Movie musicals never really sit well with me. Maybe it'll work. Hold on. Almost let me fix my ring light. Um, Maybe it'll work as a musical, like on Broadway, but like when I watch La La Land, I'm like, okay, I do not see the appeal of this film. It was okay, in my opinion. But anyway, so the Hollywood Reporter, I'm actually using their article on this because it's reminding me of a lot of stuff, even though I just watched it. But I was kind of fast forwarding through a lot of it. Because I was like, okay, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. What I would have loved to have seen is that I would have loved for them to do a stunt thing. I know everybody's been talking about, oh yeah, they need to come up with like a best stunt or whatever the case is, but they said like I think people say it's hard to kind of put that together because how do you categorize stunt winning? So maybe do like best stunt ensemble, like a team of people, or collectively the movie wins because of the amount of stunts that's in it. So like a Mission Impossible, John Wick, those type of films. I'm not saying like, okay, just ride a motorcycle off a cliff and onto the other side of the cliff. That one little scene in a movie or an explosion in Oppenheimer is gonna win. To me, I didn't even think I wasn't even expecting Barbie to win because I was looking at Barbie and I'm just sitting there like I felt like Barbie was put in there. That was sort of like a way to get y'all to get them ratings to go up. I didn't feel like that, okay, Barbie is deserving of an Oscar of all the nominations they had up in there. Yeah, it was a cute movie. The visuals was cool, even though um was the movie Better Things was winning in all the departments of like cinematography and set design and all this stuff, which was well deserved because I actually watched that movie last night and I was like totally engulfed in a lot of the visual spectacle and the costumes and all this stuff. And I thought Emma Stone did a phenomenal job playing a woman who committed suicide, and she was revived by Willem Dafoe's crazy doctor character, where and she was pregnant, so she basically took the brain of her unborn child and put it in her head and was trying to see like how this brain could develop in the mind, I mean, in the body of a grown woman. So I just loved seeing Emma playing that character and her discovering things for the first time, specifically the masturbation scene. I'm like, when she discovered that she can get pleasure from her own pussy, I'm like, bitch. I'm sitting there just like clutching my pearls and cackling at the same time. And then when she started putting vegetables up and then you got Rami, from that comedy series. I think did they ever cancel that show over on Hulu? I think his name is Rami Youssef. First of all, he's cute. But also when I was watching him in that movie, when he's like, oh, we don't do that at the table. Just sitting there like, child. Just a lot of those scenes in that film was hilarious. And that's why I laughed at the Jimmy Kimmel joke when he was like, the clips that they showed in the thing, he was like, this is all we could show you on it. Cause yeah, that movie was so inappropriate. But overall, I thought that was a good film. Also, what were highlights for me? Okay, so in my opinion, the best speeches of the night I felt like was Davine Joy Brown. Loved her speech. Cord Jefferson, who was this, I think did he direct? I think he directed also, but he did American Fiction. He won for best adapted screenplay, I believe. I loved his speech because he was talking about, Hollywood, y'all need to actually give chances to people who, instead of y'all spending $300 million on one damn movie and hoping that it breaks even, which y'all do, why don't you take that $300 million and invest it into 10 smaller films or 20 smaller films, and you can see that money grow. Give opportunities to people who really are out here, who have a voice, who have something creative to say. Y'all don't want to take no risk. I mean, regardless of how you slice it, you are taking a risk, whether it's on that big ass IP, that pre-existing IP that will cost you $200 million with half-ass special effects, that y'all put up in there versus an American Fiction versus I was gonna say Maestro, but child, I felt like that movie was overrated, and I knew Bradley Cooper wasn't gonna win no damn Oscar because even though he is so desperate to want to get one, but if you stop coming across, he's like the Lady Gaga of making movies. Like he's so pretentious in the way he carries it, and I like Bradley Cooper. Look, I've been following Bradley Cooper since he was on Alias, but just to me, with his whole all-around demeanor and the way he carries himself and the way he films his stuff, it always comes across as very pretentious. So I can't get with the tea, honey. And then I did like the director of Zone of Interest, who was coming out and kind of, I think, said something about Palestine and got and and Israel and that whole conflict, but said it in a way where it didn't come across as like aggressive and in your face, very much like they said Melissa Barrero did, but I don't think she did. So I did like that he acknowledged and he addressed that in his speech. So I did think he had the best speech of the night. And Robert Downey Jr., I liked his speech too, but I just felt like Robert Downey Jr. at sometimes he was giving me Tony Stark in that speech. And I think he knew he was going to win. Now, as far as like the musical stuff, I did love, as someone who identifies as part of, I have indigenous family members and I am part indigenous. I did love the scene where they had the performance from the who was it? The tribal from I mean the group was it the Osage Nation from Killers of the Flower Moon. I definitely enjoyed that performance. And I also loved I'm Just Ken. Now, I was like, when I saw the movie, I wasn't really feeling it. But I mean, first of all, I love me some Ryan Gosling, so I can't deny that. But I did like that performance and seeing Simu Liu up there. Like they had literally the people from the movie that was up there doing the choreography. So I did love seeing Simu Liu, Scott Evans, Nkuti Gatwa. I just love saying his name, Nkuti Gatwa from he's a new Doctor Who, and was also on Sex Education, which sidebar, I don't know what the hell happened, but I kind of fell behind on Sex Education. I got to catch up with the last two seasons. So yeah, he's from there, and then Kingsley Benadere. So they had them up there, and then I did love when he went in the audience and he put the microphone up to Margot and America Ferrera and Greta Gerwig. They all jumped in and sang the song. So it was a really good moment, and I was like, you know what? Shout out to Ryan Gosling because it was so cool to see like his Mickey Mouse Club training finally paid off during that Oscar performance of I'm Just Ken. And like I was saying before, I did love the Osage Nation tribal singers because, as someone who is indigenous, I do love that a lot of the Native American tribal music is getting a lot of recognition. I love the music from Killers of the Flower Moon and Echo, the show that was on Hulu and Disney Plus. The music, the tribal music they were using up in that too. I was like, you know what? Shout out to the indigenous people, the Native Americans. I really wish they would incorporate more of those stories and music into the films without it always being about the genocide of a people, which Killers of the Flower Moon was pretty much about. So to wrap all this up, because I don't want to be here all damn day talking about the Oscars. But and I also liked how Jimmy Kimmel read I don't know if it was a tweet or was it on his stupid little propaganda website. Donald Trump apparently tried to throw shade at Jimmy Kimmel, and they told Jimmy Kimmel not to bring it up, and Jimmy Kimmel brought it up. So I did find that scene to be funny. John Cena getting up on stage, reenacting the whole streaker that ran across the Oscar stage way before I was born, like in the early 70s. That was funny too, how he came out and did that bit. I did like that. And I love the fact that he's not afraid to poke fun at himself. Another person I was going to say that I thoroughly enjoyed that wasn't taking himself. Who was it? There was a couple of people there. So Robert Downey Jr. I did love that he was having a good time. Steven Spielberg seemed to be having a good time. I need Robert De Niro to take a laxative. Why he always look like he pissed off or something? Like whenever I see him, and I love Robert De Niro. Like he's like one of my all-time favorite actors, one of many. But him getting up there, he always looked like he needs a colonoscopy. Like he always looks stressed the fuck out. I need him to relax. It's like his wife's in there petting him like a fucking dog. The whole time when they were giving him his flowers. But I do have to say, I did love Poor Things. I actually thought that movie was really good. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. Definitely check that out. Also, is that it? According to the article on the Hollywood Reporter, they said they were talking about Bradley Cooper's movie. Apparently, there was a backlash that I didn't even know about. They said people just weren't buying what they were selling, particularly with Maestro. The film was polarizing. There was a weird online driven backlash against Bradley Cooper, and not everyone was thrilled with the company following the painful strikes in which it was made the face of the opposition to artists. So, wait a minute. They were filming Maestro during the strikes? I didn't know. Well, Netflix always be up to some bullshit when it comes to things. So, I wouldn't be surprised because I was trying to keep track of the only one that I knew off the top of my head that was filming during the strike that people were pissed off about was the American Horror Story, that piece of crap with Kim Kardashian. But that's not to say it was her fault. American Horror Story ain't been good since Coven. So I didn't know that Maestro was doing some stuff around that time. And then Bradley Cooper, if you was participating in that foolishness, ain't no good gonna come to you. You should have said then that part when Jimmy Kimmel brought out the people who stood on the front lines, like refused to cross the picket line to work. Bradley Cooper should have sat his ass down in that damn seat when they was all standing up clapping for them damn people. So if he was up in there filming during that time, your ass should have been up there clapping like Nancy Pelosi, like you was giving that. You shouldn't have been clapping if that's the truth. See, and then oh yeah, so American Fiction apparently was a part of Amazon because then yeah, Cord Jefferson I did mention about that. And it was crazy how like Killers of the Flower Moon had a $200 million budget and won nothing. So um that's kind of crazy. But it said like, but according to the Hollywood Reporter, it says so what happened basically on what happened like with a lot of the movies that really didn't do well. So it says on one level the deck was stacked against Killers from the start. In this day and age, most people have some degree of attention deficit disorder, making a 3 hour 26 minute slow burn of a movie a very tough sell, especially if it's being consumed at home on a TV, as Killers was for many Academy members. But what about Doom 2? Because Doom 2, I have a feeling is going to get nominated next year. That movie was pretty long, but I guess because between all the other stuff that was in Doom 2, they had threw some action up in there too. And yeah, there's a couple of scenes of action with Killers of the Flower Moon. But yeah, if you expect me to sit there for 4 hours in a movie theater to watch a movie when funny enough, when I went to go see Dune 2 for a second time, I did have to take a lot of pee breaks. It's because I had like the really big soda. I got the large soda. And the first time I had to go, but I was holding it because I was like going to take everything. But I guess now that I knew what was coming, I was taking a lot of bathroom breaks. But that is a lot. Like asking 3.5 hours is asking a lot from your audience. And so beyond that, though, a high-level publicist not involved with Killers opined on Sunday that Apple overdid it, especially mounting the most expensive Best Actress campaign ever, and that it turned off some voters. Regardless, the company may be playing a different game than most of its competitors. It can afford to spend big money, and while what big money didn't buy at Oscars, it did buy at ringing endorsements from Scorsese, who told me that he had never previously felt as supported by a distributor as he did by Apple this season, which in all likelihood will help to attract other top filmmakers to the platform. And here's the thing: no shade, I would rather go to Apple than Netflix, because Netflix, y'all be playing too damn much. And then it says, would Gladstone have taken home a statuette if she had promoted herself a Best Supporting Actress rather than Best Actress, as some felt she should have, or would she have to come up short in that category to the performer who won it on Sunday night, the holdovers Davine Joy Randolph? We'll never know, but we do know that voters really liked Randolph and Oppie's Downey, both of whom swept the entire. And then plus, look, Robert Downey Jr. has been in the industry for a long time. A lot of people are familiar with him. He's got a lot of friends in high places. So you have to look at it as it's politics on his part. Like, it was his to win. We all knew he was going to win it. Now, Davine, she is new to the game, and she gave an amazing speech. But I think because of that movie, she was going to win it. So, um, yeah. So that's basically it. I don't think I have any more to give on this topic. But yes, so it was long. It was cute. I enjoyed the Oscars. And I also, to not forget, so we can move on. Um, I did like that new concept that they were doing, where they had a lot of the previous Oscar winners come and pass the torch down to the next group of winners. I did like that idea. I hope they do that every year now. And I mean, from now on. And I did like the idea that, they're trying to make the Oscars not so stiff and old and stuck up and stuff. I do like the idea that it's loosening up a little bit. And even though Jimmy Kimmel's jokes didn't really land all that much, I did thoroughly enjoy it. So good luck to him and all the winners of the Oscars. Okay, so let's move on from that and read some comments. Is it kind of related yet unrelated? No, I thoroughly enjoyed John Cena being naked up there. And I remember it was funny because a friend of mine, Robert, was talking about, oh, but if it was Madonna or somebody, like people have been up in arms. I'm like, when she showed her ass, but Madonna's always been walking around naked, so that's nothing new. But yeah, we know the hypocrisy of like a naked man versus a naked woman, and no shade, but I would rather see a naked man. I mean, hello. And John Cena, I've always had a little crush on him, but him coming out, I was like, okay, the body is bodying. He's in his 40s and he looks good. And I love the fact that he wasn't afraid to poke fun at himself. How you doing, Miss Carol D? And then it was like, it was funny but true about Jodie Foster being 12 and old enough to be De Niro's daughter, but 20 years too old now. Yeah, I did love that joke. And funny enough, I've told y'all this story a million times because Jodie Foster and De Niro were in Taxi Driver. I told people my high school teacher was in that movie. So that was like a that was just an awesome moment to see them two, nominated for an Oscar. They didn't win, but I love Jodie Foster. She's an amazing actress and filmmaker, and they'll be fine. I mean, I don't know if, Robert De Niro ever won an Oscar, but, just keep pushing and doing what you do. Now, speaking of Oscars, and I don't know if this counts because it's an honorary Oscar and she didn't really win an Oscar. Let's talk about Angela Bassett, who did an interview with Oprah on her own Spotlight series, and she admitted that she was gobsmacked when she lost the Oscar for supporting actress last year. Now, Bassett was nominated for her performance in Marvel's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. She had won the Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award, but the supporting actress race remained somewhat open leading into Oscar night as Curtis won the SAG Award for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Kerry Condon won the BAFTA for The Banshees of Inisherin. Curtis ended up winning the Oscar, saying, I just knew your name was going to be called. This is what Oprah told Bassett. I was beside myself when it wasn't. We were beside ourselves. And Bassett said, I was gobsmacked. I was. I thought I handled it very well. Well, we're going to get into that in a minute. That was my intention to handle it very well. It was, of course, a supreme disappointment, and disappointment is human. So I thought, yes, I was disappointed, and I handled it like a human being. And then Bassett said, handling the Oscar awards with grace was of the utmost importance for myself and for my children who were there with me, saying, there are going to be these moments of disappointment and that you'll experience, but how do you handle yourself in the midst of them? We're going to smile. We're going to be gracious. We're going to be kind. We're going to party anyway, which is actually true. And here's the thing. Look, Angela Bassett should have won for many things. She played Coretta Scott King. She played Joe Jackson's wife, but that was for TV, so she should have got the Emmy. And she did my girl Tina Turner and What's Love Got to Do with It. Now that's where she should have got the Oscar, just like Oprah. Whoopi Goldberg should have got it for The Color Purple, but she got it for playing a comedic character in Ghost. And then when I looked at Angela Bassett, like I'm not surprised that she would feel the way she would feel. And it's like, yeah, we got to handle with grace and stuff. However, look, remember the time when she actually came and won? I mean, when they were saying all the nominees and they said Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, we saw her facial expression, how she didn't get her ass up out that chair and wasn't clapping and stuff. So people automatically made the assumption like, oh, she's salty, auntie and so because they call her auntie and stuff. But Angela Bassett's salty. She's unhappy over the fact that she didn't get the award. And it's like, yeah, maybe your intentions on the inside, you felt like you were, you know, being gracious, but it didn't come across in that way in your body language. But yes, it was a disappointment. And I think we was all shocked that Jamie Lee Curtis won, even though her character was pretty, she did play a pretty good character in Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was such a weird damn movie. And um it was good, but um unfortunately, she didn't win, and better luck next time. And she got the little honorary award, but like I said, that's not the same. Like we need her to get up there, get the standing ovation, walk up on the stage, collect the Oscar, and give the thank you speech or whatever. I don't. You can't know. It's no. I don't get this whole participation trophy honorary Oscar thing that they're doing now, where it's like, oh yeah, they should have won, but we didn't give it to them. Like, what kind of BS is that? It's like, no, I either get the Oscar or I don't get it at all. But It is what it is, and such is life, and that's what this industry is. It's all about politics and things. Okay, so let's move on and talk about Bad Bunny, child. So he was at the Oscars last night. And apparently, when he was up there with Dwayne Johnson reading he had to do his little thing. It's like, child, first of all, stop jumping on a what's comfortable, and you can speak English, so make the attempt. And it's funny how you want to play in the Hollywood space, but you want to still try to act like he wants to be himself. But this is the only way. No, because now you a little. First of all, Bad Bunny been acting a little too Hollywood, which has been turning me off from him anyway. And I feel like this next topic that we're going to talk about is making me really not like him. So yesterday he appeared at the Oscars. He did, he came as a presenter with Dwayne Johnson. And apparently, reading was not fundamental to him because he couldn't even read the damn who the winner was. He couldn't even say Oscar. I think maybe he forgot that he was at the Oscars and not the Goyas. The Goyas is like the Spaniard version of Oscar. But that's the Oscars of Spain, the Goyas, in case y'all didn't know that. But anyway, so now he's upset because a fan decided to record his concert and post it on YouTube. So he's so upset about the whole situation that he's filed the lawsuit against the fan. Now, according to TMZ, Bad Bunny has hit a man named Eric Guillermo Madrigal Garon with a lawsuit for posting long-form footage of his February 21st concert in Salt Lake City. So that was like opening day, like his opening concert. And Garone stands accused of sharing videos, including full performances of Bad Bunny's show on his YouTube channel, Mad for Live Music. Per the suit, the 29-year-old is seeking an injunction barring Garone from sharing the videos online, as well as either $150,000 for each of the videos posted or any actual damage he can prove that he incurred by way of the postings. Now, within the filing, Bad Bunny asserts that he owns the rights to the music in the performances and did not grant rights for Garon's usage in any capacity. He stresses that Garon's unauthorized actions redirect views and in turn add revenue away from his YouTube channel, thus his losses. Well, of course, that's what it is. It's like he feels like, y'all doing it. You taking money out of his pocket. Now, before proceeding with the suit, he made a formal complaint with YouTube, which temporarily resulted in the removal of the videos. However, they were restored when Garone filed an appeal. TMZ adds, clearly Garone had a great view of the show and some high-quality camera equipment, and the orchestra footage runs 9 minutes on the YouTube upload. Now, if Garone was shooting/posting similar videos for the rest of Bad Bunny's concert, as Bad Bunny claims, it seems a lot of different than just uploading a cell phone video of the show to social media as millions of people do. In fact, lots of shorter clips of his concert from that evening are up on TikTok, but none of them are all that lengthy. Now, this is what I said is weird. This is slippery stuff. Like, first of all, over the years, I've been going to concerts, but I've been going to concerts or seeing YouTube. Like, this whole concert's up on there. You can go up there right now. Look, I've seen Doja Cat's whole concert. I even seen the Madonna concert before I actually went to go see her concert. And regardless of how you slice it, like all these people putting clips and whole concerts and things up there, nothing beats the overall experience of actually being there. Because I went to the concert, and to me, I felt like, and I've said this before, the YouTube videos do not capture that overall energy, the intimacy, the way, like being in the room. Because it's funny how, like, when people come up to me and they're always like, because, working at Madison Square Garden, they're like, oh, it looks so different. To be like, everything looks so much bigger and all this other stuff. But when you're actually there, it's completely different. I mean, that's with any type of live type of event. Being there is going to be a completely different vibe than actually, watching it on camera. And to me, I would think that me seeing the concert, because this is how I am now. First of all, concerts are too goddamn expensive. Y'all are way too damn expensive, especially Bad Bunny. We talked about this not too long ago, how there was a overall complaint about how expensive his concert tickets are, and the fact that people were not going because of that. And then the fact that when the concert started, they dropped the prices on the concert because they need to fill up them seats. And I always tell people, wait till the day before, the day of, to try to see if you could score a ticket, because that's when they drop them tickets. Everybody be freaking out, pre-sales. That's a bunch of hokey. It's a bunch of hocus pocus, a bunch of bullshit. Wait until the last minute, because guaranteed you will find you a good ticket. Like if you really know, like especially when it comes to the Madonna concert, I've been hearing so many people say, you know what? I waited to the last minute per recommendation, and then when I went to take that chance, I went and got a ticket, and it was cheap. because that's what they want. At the end of the day, they need them seats filled. So take a chance on that. And my thing is, when I watch concerts, it's to me to determine, okay, now is this concert good enough that I would want to take that risk and spend that money? Because times is hard out here. People are still struggling, and nobody has time to be going and seeing 7, 8 concerts to go, as a way to just been throwing money away. People are struggling out here. People got bills. They got kids that are taking care. They got, school tuition or loans or whatever you want to call it. They got to buy groceries. It's so much that goes into people's money. So Bad Bunny doing this is more vanity bullshit. Like he's mad at this one specific person because you're showing my concert online. And people are getting a good view. Is your concert trash? Because that album was trash. That last one that came out. So is the concert matching the overall album? Because you didn't seem like you was inspired with that last album you put out. So I'm just relatively. So I don't know. I don't feel like this is gonna go anywhere. And yeah, you probably more than likely as an artist you do own the rights to your music, and that would make a good argument. However, does it like so? What are we gonna start banning cell phones from concerts now? Like, how is that gonna work? Like to me, going to a concert, I feel like people should be in the moment regardless, and I wish that people were in the moment during those situations. But these days, everybody want to be filming stuff, and I don't understand the point because quiet as is kept. Once y'all get the footage and you post it wherever, so you can get your little, you go viral and you get a lot of people watching your stuff, and you get that dopamine fix. Do y'all actually sit and go back on the videos in your phone and watch them? Because I noticed I don't. When I went and recorded some clips for the Madonna concert, I didn't go back and watch it. So what I did was I deleted it from my phone, but not before uploading it to my Facebook. I did regret not uploading it to TikTok. I was mad at myself over that because I thought about it after the fact. But look, it's on my Facebook page. People have seen it's up there. It's not a big deal. So, um, good luck, Bad Bunny. We'll see if you are able, or Benito, as I always call him. Good luck, sir. And we'll see if you can, you'll be able to get some money out of this. But between this and hunching one of them damn Jenners, which lost you points with a lot of fans because you was messing with them car Jenner whores, and the throwing of the fan's cell phone because they were filming you, whatever, you were in a mood, you really starting to show your entire ass and you really starting to turn off a lot of people. So good luck, sir. But anyway, we got a lot of comments, so please hold. Oh, Beat Faces in here. I was like, oh, talk about Bad Bunny and Miss Lindsay's in here. It said everywhere was nowhere hated that movie, and Auntie should have won. Yeah, everything everywhere all at once. It was a cute movie, but I do feel like it was so overrated because Hollywood always kind of gets in this whole pretentious energy type situation. We want to show how weird we are. We want to see how cutting edge. And it's like I watched it, it's like, okay, so he stuck a bunch of burger fingers. They did burger finger before Plain Jane. It was hot dog fingers though. Or you probably stick it in your booty hole. But anyway, so they said Beyonce does the same. Child. Well, them two, it's about Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Well, this is why I would never pay to go see them in concert. Because to me, yeah, Beyonce is one of the hardest working performers and stuff, but no shade. I get bored with her after a while when I watch her live. And that's my Virgo sister. But I'm just gonna have to say it. Like she bought after a while, it's like, yeah, we get it. You're the queen, you're this, you're that, but you really don't give me something that is like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I need to watch it 50 million times. Like she is one of the hardest working performers, but I get bored with her after a while. And Bon Jovi, who his son is about to marry what's that girl name from Stranger Things? Millie Bobby Brown. And said, remember bootleg videos when you could see the people in movie theater? We've come a long way from that. Well, I could see why she did it for Madam X. Madam X was not a good era for Madonna. But look, I was gonna say like this whole thing of like suing people for recording stuff, it's not gonna work. Like to me, it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's stupid. You're gonna be in litigation for the rest of so you go after one person, you're gonna go after everybody because like roaches, you kill one, 50 more is gonna pop up. So you're gonna be in litigation for the rest of your day. It's a losing battle. People are gonna use their phones to record stuff at these events unless they start banning phones from arenas. And they're not gonna be doing that because number one, people need their phones to get into concerts. Like you literally, if to go to Madison Square Garden, there's a turnstile thing, and before you go through the turnstile, you have to scan the barcode underneath this gadget in order to get through the turnstile to go upstairs to the to the arena, wherever section you're in. If you're in the hundreds or the 200s, 300s, I don't think that the 300s and stuff was open actually when I went, but I think it's the 100s and 200s, and then they cut off a certain section because of where they put the stage. So it's a to me, it's just a waste of damn time to be up in here trying to sue people. Well, apparently Caswell didn't need his phone to get up in there because he said that he went into the box office to purchase a ticket because he wanted to be in the moment and he didn't want to find himself recording, so he left his phone home. I wish I could do something like that, but that's because he's Gen X. And a lot of people can remember the time where they didn't have to rely on cell phones to get, like, when you grew up in an era when you didn't need a cell phone, you can do without it. And you know what? It's good to hear that Lindsay says she doesn't agree with this Bad Bunny lawsuit. Because I know how much like Lindsay loves Bad Bunny, so it's good to see like you actually don't agree with this because you look. I be expecting, one of the things I love about people is when y'all not gonna be full on into the whole stand thing when you want to be biased, where it's like your fave could do no wrong. It's like, I be calling out Madonna on things she doing. I'm probably gonna call her out later with that wheelchair thing when we get to spilling that tea. And so he doesn't want the MC. Well, okay. Well, I guess he doesn't. He doesn't want them empty seats sold. Well, oh, it could have been that. Oh, you saying scene? He don't want people record. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because wasn't they throwing shade at Nicki Minaj for having like a lot of empty seats at her concert? So I could see why, he would be upset if you're filming and you seeing like a bunch of empty seats up in there because now all of a sudden, and I don't understand how at your level of being an artist and you ain't been around that damn long to even be commanding, $1,200 for a damn seat or $800 for a nosebleed. Because I'll be damned if I pay that much for a damn rapper. But anyway, so let's move on and talk about Ariana Grande, who has, a new album out called Eternal Sunshine, which she named after that movie with Jim Carrey. And I listened to it and I gave my overall thoughts. I thought it was all right. It's nothing to brag home about. I will say one of the things I do like about her is the fact that, I'm glad that this is the era where she finally stopped blackfishing. And even though it's not my favorite body of work from her, I do applaud her for taking the risk in regards to the production and a lot of the vocal melodies. But speaking of the album, she basically is going in on her fans. Well, I'll give her this too. I'm glad that she's actually going in on her fans, unlike some of you other artists who just let your stands do your dirty work for you, and you just sit by and tell them not to do things, and then every now and again you'll get a batter in your back and be like, "I don't want my fans to be trolling anybody. Don't troll," but then you send them out to start doxing bitches. And it ain't just talking about the obvious one, who I'm talking about. A lot of y'all do it. A lot of y'all stay silent while your fans do your bid. And then your fans be hoping, or I should say stands, your stands be hoping that they'll get some kind of attention and they'll get a little something, something. But it ain't like you giving them a free ticket to your concert or whatever, or calling them on the phone, giving them a personal message like y'all besties and shit. But anyway, so they said after weeks of teasing, Ariana's album is out. Following the controversy surrounding her rumored relationship with Ethan Slater, fans began to speculate that the 30-track project would address her personal life, despite saying it wasn't inspired by actual events during her interview with Apple Music. Child, y'all all still doing this shit. What is this? Like y'all all taking a page out of the Jennifer Lopez handbook, where it's like, oh, it's not really inspired by anything, but it is inspired by, like, stop it. It's inspired by your life. It's inspired by events in your life, especially when you do a song with multiple songs where you imply that the ex-husband, Dalton, cheated on you, because you did imply that. Also, how you out here openly bragging that you ain't closed your legs to a married man. Hi, Ethan Slater, like all of that other mess. So how is it not inspired, but it is inspired? So stop with the double talking out of both sides of your mouth. She did it, Jennifer Lopez did, and I'm gonna read you like I did her. And when I talked about her, like, stop that. Like, if you're gonna go out here and you're gonna be a home wrecker and you happy being a home wrecker and a side chick, own it. In the words of Lisa Rinna. Look, own your hardness. Own being a side bitch. Like I hate when people just sit and they put things out there, or they say things, and they, oh, I don't really, yes, bitch, it is. Stop it. But anyway, so on March 9th, they said the "We Can't Be Friends, Waiting for Your Love" singer, that's the new one of the new tracks on the album, uploaded a note to her Instagram story to address the misguided backlash, saying, "I just want to say anyone that is sending a hateful message to the people in my life based on your interpretation of this album, it's not supporting me, and it absolutely doing the polar opposite of what I would ever encourage." So she went to expand on her thoughts, saying, "This is also entirely misinterpreting the intention behind the music. I ask that you please do not. It is not how to support me. It is the opposite." Now, as for the album's true meaning, Grande clarified that before closing the note, although this album captures a lot of painful moments, it is also woven together with a soul line of deep, sincere love. If you cannot hear that, please listen more closely. Well, that's because they're not listening. They're looking for these days. A lot of people sit and look for salaciousness. They want to look for the dramas, like oh, they looking for them gotta moments, and then they want to go online as oh, you a piece of shit, or you a dog. You, it's like wait a minute. First of all, there's her side, there's Dalton's side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So I don't understand people who want to jump into situations and be so quick. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna drag this person on social. It's like you don't even know these people. Yet you're on social media giving your opinion about stuff. I'm doing it because it's a show and it's part of the hot topics. But people who go out here and y'all openly troll people that you don't know for what? Because you're hoping to get brownie points from Ariana. And I'm glad that in that part she is speaking out on that and chastising her fans over that comment. But yeah, I just found the album to be boring. So outside of that, I'm glad that she, took a risk in regards to the production and vocal abilities. Yes, Anne was cute or whatever. I didn't understand the point of the remake with Mariah Carey, but if you like it, I love it. I also find it interesting that how a lot of people had smoke for Alicia Keys when she enclosed her legs to Swizz Beats when he was married to Mashonda. But how come Ariana is not getting that same energy? Especially, when she's made a career out of being a side chick, as I said earlier, messing with Big Sean when he was with Naya Rivera, may she rest in peace. And then the song "Break Up with Your Girlfriend," I'm bored. Like she's done so many things where she's openly kind of played into this whole space of being the side chick instead of being the wife, which kind of gives me the whole situation in my mind that, you know what, people like her are destined to be alone. Because Ethan, I feel like you're an idiot. You literally left your wife who has a newborn with you for Ariana Grande, who guaranteed once um, what's that damn movie that she did? Wicked. Once all of that promotion and stuff is wrapped, you're gonna be tossed by the wayside. I would have said beforehand, but it wouldn't be a good look if she did that while, the promotion for the new movie didn't start yet because the new movie's supposed to come out in November. And I don't know when the part two was gonna come out. They'll probably wait like 3, 4, I'll say 4 to 6 months before they drop the next one. So she gonna drop his ass once that whole promotional shit is over, or maybe before then, because then that might overshadow and make her look. The controversy surrounding that. If people were really paying attention, they might not go see it because of that whole situation. Well, I guess if you're deep in the bubble, you might not want to go see it because of that reason. But for the most part, I don't feel like the Arianators are going to be enough to support Wicked because Ariana Grande's in it. I just don't think movie musicals are just a big box office draw. But we'll see what happens because it's coming out during the holidays and the people give a damn enough to want to go see it. So good luck, girl. I am curious because I haven't really looked to see what are the numbers going to be for Eternal Sunshine first week sales. I'm sure it'll be better than Jennifer Lopez because remember I said that her album came in like the first week it debuted at 28. Child, can I tell y'all it actually debuted lower? 10 spaces lower. It actually debuted at 38. It wasn't even 28. So we made the snafu. It debuted lower than that. So Good luck on that This Is Me Now tour, because you definitely gonna need some coin for that. I do know that Madison Square Garden in New York is doing 2 nights. They added a second night, and I was there yesterday during the Knick game, and they were talking about how tickets are on sale, so they were advertising it and trying to get people to buy tickets. So do so if you care. I wonder what her ticket prices are. Are they out there where the buses don't run? Oh, thank you for reminding me because it was like, yeah, Leanne Rhymes. And I remember we were talking about that earlier. Leanne Rhymes was someone I feel like, and you know what? A lot of people don't want to state the obvious, but I do believe it has to do with race, probably. That okay, y'all went after Alicia Keys, but you didn't go after Ariana Grande. Is it because she's pretty, she's childlike? Because she was, and that was another thing that irritated me. First of all, that dress she had on last night at the Oscars, I'm like, what is this? What are you wearing? Like a doily wrapped around your dress. First of all, she was hiding her body. She's still, even though she's in her 30s, she's still shaped like she's 12. So I think that's why people like her also. It's that whole pedophilia type of vibe that you get from her. And then her and Cynthia Erivo were up there doing the nomination thing, and she's talking in this childlike voice. It's like, okay, so you want people to take you seriously, you say you a grown woman, but then at the same time, you're doing like little girl voices. There was somebody else who did, Britney Spears used to get me with that too, where she would do that, that doll baby voice. I was like, ma'am, you're grown. Grow up. Stop with the kitty shit. I understand that you got to play to that because youth is so revered in Hollywood, but it's like, stop it. We got to stop with the whole pedophilia, you know, vibe and feeling and stuff in the industry. Oh, so she's okay. I knew somebody was gonna know the number. 158K. I knew somebody was gonna know the number and stuff for the Oscars. I mean for the Oscars, for her sales. And it said promoting. Oh, so you think that she's gonna break up with him while they're promoting Wicked? That would be a. I would be curious to know if that actually happens. If she does that. Okay, so all right, so let's keep it moving and let's go from one artist to another. Let's talk about this Michael Jackson biopic. So right now, Antoine Fuqua, who I do like a lot of his movies, I believe he directed Training Day. That's actually one of my favorite movies that he did. Denzel won the Oscar for that. Also, he did all the Equalizer movies. So Antoine and also he's did a lot of. It's funny, I'm bringing up a lot of Denzel Washington movies. He also, he did a lot of amazing films that I like over the years. So I do like Antoine Fuqua and a lot of films that he's done. But anyway, so apparently, and right now, Michael's nephew Jafar Jackson is actually playing the King of Pop. So over the weekend, a leaked version of the script for the biopic, which is called Michael, has come out. And they said that it's set to tackle the child abuse allegations head on and paint the pop star as innocent. Now, according to a report from Matthew Baloney of Puck, I believe we referenced Matthew Baloney on this show before in regards to some tea that got out that he was aware of. I think I was like, what was it? I think it was Fantastic Four. I think that was the information. But quiet as it's kept, the Fantastic Four information was old. A lot of that stuff leaked out way before. Like it leaked out last year. We all knew Pedro Pascal was getting it, but the cast that they announced, but they had to make the official announcement to make it official. But that tea was spilled eons ago. But anyway, to get back to this story. So, like I said, according to a report from Matthew Baloney of Puck, an iteration of the screenplay read by the reporter shows that the movie digs into the accusations that MJ sexually abused children at his Neverland ranch. The news is all the more surprising considering Jackson's estate is directly involved with the Antoine Fuqua directed biopic, which stars the late pop star's nephew, Jafar, in his acting debut, and probably going to be the only movie he ever does. However, and that's no shade. I'm just saying because Hollywood is very much like that. It's like some of y'all are just one movie wonders. So what else they're gonna put Jafar in? They cast him because he's close because of them genes. The Michael Jackson genes are strong. However, the context, or I should say Jackson genes. It says, however, the context in which the topic is tackled appears to want to convince viewers that he's innocent. Now, if this saying, quote, if the script as written ends up on screen, which is a great caveat here because words and scenes are often changed during shoots and not everything goes in the final cut, this will be super controversial. This is what Baloney wrote. It not only engages, it wants very much to convince you Michael is innocent. Now, Bologna chose not to reveal too much of the script he reviewed out of respect for the filmmakers of the currently in production project, but he did reveal that the version he had read opens with Jackson watching police arrive at his estate following allegations made by a then 13-year-old Jordan Chandler. The boy alleged in 1993 that Jackson molested him. The singer later reached a $20 million settlement with him. The screenplay is said to minimize the claims made against Jackson, including a scene in which lawyers John Braca and Johnny Cochran described the allegations as an extortion attempt. I wonder if John Branca is the role that oh my god, I totally forgot the actor's name. He was in oh my gosh, he was in Fantastic Four, the last one. Miles Teller. I wonder if that's the role that Miles Teller is playing, because I did hear that he's going to be in the film, but I'm wondering who's he playing an attorney. This assault, this scorching trauma will shake him to the core and never leave him, reads one passage from the script, in which includes a scene of him being strip searched by police. Another portion describes Jackson, who faced criminal. I wonder if they saw the vitiligo on his body. Like, was he looking like a cow when y'all took off his clothes and he had all the spots on him? I'm just wondering. Like, don't throw tomatoes at me for being politically incorrect and me asking. But I do wonder that when they stripped him naked, it was like, was he covered in makeup? Because to even out the skin, or was there, some real vitiligo going on? Because, child, I do not believe that Michael Jackson had vitiligo. I believe he just didn't like being black and changed his whole complexion. Um, what else did it say? Okay, so it says another portion describes Jackson who faced criminal trial over 7 counts of alleged child molestation as uniquely comfortable around kids. Branca in another scene says it's not the kids I'm worried about, it's the parents. He's opening his door to tons of people we don't know, and there's a lot of greedy people in the world. Now, Baloney noted that overall the screenplay tackles these topics head on in an attempt to launder his image and depict him as a tragic, exploitive figure who was drawn to children because he was robbed of his childhood due to the Jackson 5 success and his abusive father, Joe Jackson, who will be played by Coleman Domingo. Nia Long is said to play matriarch Katherine Jackson, saying the takeaway from Michael is that Michael Jackson had an abusive father who caused him to become a horribly insecure yet harmless Peter Pan, constantly reliving the childhood he never had, and ultimately that was weaponized by bad people trying to exploit him. What's interesting is how aggressive the script is in the pursuit to make Michael look innocent. Now, here's the thing. I actually agreed with that. Like, in my opinion, I always thought that was the Michael Jackson. That Michael Jackson was somebody who, you know, just was completely innocent, retreated into himself, even though on the outside, physically, he was a human, like a grown man. On the inside, mentally, I believe that he was still like, he had Peter Pan syndrome, which a lot of people do in Hollywood, where mentally you're still a child. You are trying to play catch up because a lot of times us regular people, we've had childhoods where we can go out and play and stuff. And me, as someone who, you know, took music lessons and was acting and doing all the other things, the little Hollywood stuff and training and all that other stuff, I did get to go out and play with my friends and stuff too. So I got to have a childhood along with, you know, performing and all the other stuff when I was a kid growing up. Michael Jackson was someone who was famous since he was 6 years old. So he never really got to have the opportunity of having a childhood. So he decided when he got the Neverland Ranch, he was going to create, amusement, like a little amusement park and have all these things where he could live out the childhood he never got. And he had fun with the kids and the kids was playing with him and stuff. And then when you get like greedy ass parents, like, you know what, we're going to sit up here and lie and say that he did these things so we can get some money. And the worst part is that you would put a child up to the lie. This is the picture they're painting. So this is what I always thought. But if they're now, Michael, if you was out here really doing some stuff with these kids, ain't no good. Well, I can't say ain't no good come to him because the man ain't on the earth no more. He's not here. He's dead. He's not part of the union. So unfortunately, whether or not he did do it, he's not here to defend himself. And then on top of that, we got the trial that's coming up between, you know, what the hell's his damn name? Wade Robson and James Safechuck. You know, when they did the documentary Leaving Neverland, and they claimed that they were sexually abused by Michael Jackson when they were kids. And, you know, there was a lawsuit that the Jackson estate filed. But then here's the thing. Long before this story came out, I had heard rumblings before they started shooting the film that they were going to tackle this story in the film. Because I was wondering, because I remember when I first started talking about that, I was like, are they actually going to bring up the child molestation accusations and stuff, or y'all going to just give us some BS via Bohemian Rhapsody? Because the same guy who wrote Bohemian Rhapsody wrote the script for this movie. So I was wondering, okay, y'all going to give us a real show? I mean, you going to give us some real tea, or y'all going to sit up here and kind of give this one-sided bias BS film, you know, thrown with the Michael Jackson music catalog thrown in because y'all want to get your hands on that damn catalog. So that's what I was wondering. But I did hear that this stuff, but now I know to the extent of where they're gonna go. And I guess we won't really know until the movie comes out, and then we can see it and we'll see the trailer, we'll see the movie, and then we can be like, okay, I don't feel like they went far enough with this, and we can give out our critiques and all that other stuff and really go in and criticize on points where I feel like they should have really went further on in this movie. Because I've talked about this enough times. Well, I don't particularly care about biopics because I feel like they're biased in a lot of ways. And I always use Bohemian Rhapsody as an example of how much I despise that damn movie. But then I'm also not surprised that they would paint Michael as innocent, especially when the film was approved by the Jackson estate. So where do you think else they were going to do that? And I'm sure that they were like, you know, we're going to have to tackle the Michael Jackson stuff, but we'll do it in a way where it doesn't come across like we're making him, you know, we're going too hard on him. But we do have to talk about it because it was a part of his life. So I do like the fact that they're doing it, but I'm sure they're probably gonna handle that shit with kid gloves. And like I said, I don't know if Michael did those things. I truly feel in my hearts of hearts that Michael would have done it, that he was like some, you know, he had a little bit of Peter Pan syndrome. But for the most part about it is that, you know what? There's going to be biases when the family's involved. So, like I said, I'm looking for, even though I don't particularly care for biopics, I am looking forward to seeing this film because I definitely am curious to see where they plan on going with the story, the script, how the acting is. Because, you know, with Nia Long and Coleman Domingo and so many other high profile actors in it, that's going to be good. But I definitely want to see how Jafar does as his uncle. So, that's all I'm looking forward to. Okay, so thanks for the update. This old lady needs a nap. Okay, so chat with you later. All right, so now let's go from one sexual assault to another. And let's talk about this story that I came across earlier today. I'm like, not a lot of people are talking about this. But I came across this, so I'm going to talk about it. So, a Hollywood writer and producer with more than 2 decades of work under his belt has been accused of drugging and sexually assaulting an aspiring writer in 2022. Now, shout out to the Daily Mail for this story. It says a top Hollywood writer and producer has been accused of raping an aspiring writer after offering to mentor him. Now, Laurence Andries, who's 66, has been charged with sodomy, oral copulation, and sexual penetration while the victim was unconscious by the use of a drug, as reported by ABC7, saying, I believe that he was drugged. I think that he drugged one of my drinks, took me to his place, and then dot dot dot. I can't say the word. I'm sorry, I just can't say it. This is what the alleged victim, identified as John Doe, told the outlet. Now, Andrews, who has worked on various hit shows, including 6 Feet Under and Blue Bloods, was arrested last August in LA and released on bond. Now, John Doe, a military veteran, claimed he met the producer at a writer's program and they became friends. He added that he was always upfront about being heterosexual, saying, I never even thought I had to say this expletive is never going to happen, John Doe told ABC7. The alleged assault happened after the two went out for drinks in June 2022. John Doe said he contacted police and immediately, despite fear of how speaking up would affect his career in Hollywood. The aspiring writer added that he became forward publicly because he and detectives believe there are other victims. Andrews is scheduled in court next month. Now, the Hollywood veteran was nominated for an Oscar in 1994 for his writing on the live action short Kangaroo Court. He's also worked on other hit shows such as Alias, How to Get Away with Murder, Supernatural, and Being Mary Jane. Now, it's funny how, like I said, all these shows I actually watched. Like, I loved 6 Feet Under and Blue Blood. Like, Blue Bloods, I'm actually rewatching as we speak because, you know, they had like 13 seasons or whatever. And I believe this is their final season coming up. And I love 6 Feet Under, and like I said, 6 Feet Under and Blue Bloods, and I also, Alias is my show until that final, maybe I think the final season, the final 2 seasons kind of threw me off, but the first 3 seasons I lived for. How to Get Away with Murder is my show too. Supernatural, I love that show, and Being Mary Jane, that was my show too. So he's been a part of a lot of really good shows. Now, it also says that Andries serves as an advisor for the Writers Guild Foundation, which he also served as VP of programming, according to the website. Many military veterans turned writers have previously posted about Andries, describing him as a beloved mentor on social media. Freelance writer Adam Korenman spoke highly of Andries in a 2019 post. Some of the best career advice I ever heard came from Larry Andries, an incredible writer, producer, human. He said, "Don't be an a-hole. No matter what kind of writer you want to be, treat everyone with respect, be empathetic. It'll make you a better writer in person." Anyone, with information about additional potential crimes, they said they've been asked to contact the LA Police Department. And they said he continued to post on Facebook following his arrest, but and I think the last post he did was on February 24th. And I believe that he deleted his Facebook account after he was contacted by Daily Mail for I guess a report on the whole situation. But I just find it crazy that it's like, you know what? I'm like, damn, can you ever get in this industry without somebody trying to take advantage of you? Like we hear from producers, we hear from directors, we hear from writers, and a lot of people just don't say nothing, look the other way because they want that career. And if that's the easy route that you want to take, where you okay with being sexually assaulted, then that's great. But it's sad that when someone allegedly, because we don't know if this story is true, but we always have to believe the victims, correct? So, it's unfortunate we have that you're in a situation where someone who is supposed to be considered a mentor and someone who is trying to, that I'll say me for an example, would be looking up to this person to get me from point A to point B because I'm like, I want to be where you are. I want to be able to get in that space and in that room and write for, a lot of amazing shows on TV or whatever the case is, or work on a script that eventually gets made into a movie. And I want to get in those spaces. And I'm thinking like this guy can help me get there, but I don't want to have to compromise my booty hole or have to worry about, or if I go out with this person and have a drink that you done laced it with something. This is why I don't trust nobody when it comes to drinks. I buy my own drink. I nurse my drink. My drink goes with me everywhere. Even if I go to the bathroom, I'm carrying a drink with me in the chair. I've been on dance floors with a full cup of liquor and never spilled it. That's how good at liquor of being a drinker that I am. I don't drink as much anymore because, I feel like also I need to point this out. Ever since I started hearing about this aphasia and dementia stuff that's reduced to alcohol, I've been scared to like drink a lot and stuff because I'm like, I don't want to end up with Alzheimer's and dementia and all that other stuff because I never knew that alcohol affected the brain. I always thought it affected your kidneys. But I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't have known those things. But now when you hear these stories, a lot of people saying like people who drink heavily or all the time, like you're gonna cause future damage to your brain. That's how people always say, but it also makes sense because when people say, "Oh, I blacked out, I don't remember what happened," that's because of the alcohol. All that liquor was up in your brain and stuff. It's like, yeah, it was gonna cut out certain things. So I say all this to say I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this story. I'll be keeping an eye on this trial, and it just goes to show that you know what, y'all got to be out here in these streets because even if you're just trying to make something of yourself with this career, whatever, these are the things that you got to worry about. You got to worry about predators and all this other stuff where people are trying to take advantage of you, and it's unfortunate that in this day and age, especially in Hollywood, that this type of stuff is going on, and that there are people out here that's like, yeah, you could be. An inspiration and a mentor to a dozen people, but then is that one person that you try. And we'll see if more people come out now. More people come out and it's like, oh, you in danger, girl. All right, so let's talk about Madonna, who apparently got herself in some hot water over the weekend. And with her being her dominating the pop world for more than 40 years, she's gonna make mistakes. She's made a mistake before. But it was like she was in one state and I think she accidentally called it Boston when she was in another city. And look, that happens. It's like when you're traveling from city to city, you're not going to always remember what city you're in. So she called out the wrong city on one of the legs of the celebration tour. And now during her show at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California on Thursday, the Queen of Pop accidentally called out a fan in a wheelchair for sitting during her performance, saying What are you doing sit down over there? What are you getting sitting down? And this is what she asked the concert girl before walking to the edge of the stage to get a closer look. The pop icon then quickly apologized after realizing her embarrassing mistake. So going, oh, okay. Politically incorrect. Sorry about that. She said after seeing that the person was in a wheelchair, I'm glad you're here. That's what she said, unquote. Now, fan captured footage of the cringeworthy moments quickly circulated online, causing backlash from the social media onlookers, saying, doesn't matter if they're sitting or standing, they paid for the ticket and took the time to be there. Isn't that enough? One user wrote on Twitter, adding a shrugging emoji. Another person wrote, lots of people need to sit down who don't use wheelchairs too. This is honestly just gross, ableist behavior. Another ex user wrote, appreciate that the person purchased a ticket and came to see you. Now, Madonna, launched a 5-night stand at the Kia Forum on Monday, March 4th. The singer celebration tour is a career-spanning look back on her hits, personal struggles, pop culture impact, and enduring influence. So, look, all I got to say on that is the fact that, you know what? She made a mistake. I do find it, it's like, oh, well, a lot of artists try to, you know, point out and do all this. Why are you standing? I mean, why are you sitting? Stand up. I want you to put all your look. She had this thing about she wanted everybody to use their phones and have all the lights on and stuff, in the arenas and stuff. And actually the whole lighting like a Christmas tree and all the in all the sections, it does look pretty cool, especially when she's doing I Will Survive, which if you've seen the clips online, she does have everybody turn on their phone lights and stuff to kind of make it look. Phone lights are the new, you know, matches or lighters. When they used to light lighters in the at concerts and stuff, now they do it with the phones. But I don't know. I was like, okay, so she made a mistake. I don't see this like as a big deal. Like I just think this is stupid. First of all, it's like, she made a mistake. She shouldn't have, and I guess with Madonna, girl, stop trying to be so forceful with things. But I guess if she was in the front, that's what she's gonna get you. But I do agree with some of the people over on Twitter where they said, you know what, there are some people that need to sit. And I told her there was a lot of people in my section that were sitting because it wasn't just a lot of young people that was at my well, I don't even know if they were relatively young. I mean, if they were, they probably came with their parents. But for the most part, a lot of the people that went to the concert when I went to go see the MSG, a lot of people were older. So probably around Madonna's age. They're not going to be on their feet for 2 hours and stuff like shit. Well, she has to be because she's performing. But a lot of these a lot of these older people are not going to be up on their feet watching the concert. There was some I saw in front of me that sat the whole concert because, a lot of people do have leg problems. So I stood up for the most of the concert, but then there was some parts like towards the end. I'm like, okay, my back is starting to hurt. It's probably because the way I stand. I'm always like arching my back because I'm always trying to stand up straight. But I probably put a little too much. I think a lot of times the way I stand, I put way too much pressure on my lower back. So I need to stop doing that. So, because my father used to always get on me when I was a kid about having bad posture. So I always try to remind myself to to stand upright, sit upright, all the other stuff. Because I did have bad posture. I used to slouch a lot in the chairs and stuff when I was a kid. So good luck to you, Madonna. Man, like I said, this is not a big deal. People just want to make a mountain out of a molehill. People just want to go on social media and just say a whole bunch of bullshit. It's not a big deal. Okay, so now let's move on from one controversy to another, and let's talk about Little Nas X, who hopped on social media on Thursday. What's the same day that Madonna had the little snafu? March 7th was a busy day, apparently. So anyway, Lil Nas X hopped on social media to confirm the pending release of Nasarati 2, which is a sequel to his 2018 mixtape Nasarati. The Georgia talent also sparked some controversy and fake outrage from homophobes when he shared a song teaser that sees him opening up about his sexuality as a youth. Now, shout out to Complex for this story. It says last week the industry baby artist dropped a teaser for his song from his upcoming mixtape where he raps about his personal life and queerness before he reached mainstream fame. Now, the lyrics goes as follows. It says, cap and gown, I graduated and got out of town, went to college where I had no one around, grinder sessions, sexing with faceless accounts, bringing bodies in me and sneaking them out. And that's basically what he says when he rhymes. But the next bar, where Twitter discusses, sorry, I said, because I thought it said Twitter, it's actually X as a Little Nas X. So that's funny. Because I'm like X, because I'm like, I'm so used to not trying to call it that. Like I dead name it and call it Twitter intentionally. Because it'll always be Twitter. But anyway, but there is a post that was on his Twitter. We'll get to that in a second. But the next bar where X discusses his closeted youth is what had some listeners shooketh, saying, back in middle school, I was fiending for dick. Seventh grade, sending my homies some pics. Daddy never knew what I did as a kid. He would have crucified me, but trust me, I get it. And that's basically what he said. And everybody's up in arms. And so people went on social media and they said that, you know what, while some people were praising LNX for showing a vulnerable side of himself, others claimed, per usual, that the lines were intentionally controversial for attention. So one person wrote, very weird to be talking about sexting when you were a child. I don't know. Does he get some streams without controversy? Does he not get streams without controversy? Another person wrote, I want Montero to take time off to find himself, an industry gap year, if you will. And he took, to social media to criticize people and said, I hate explaining myself every time I do anything, but this is not for shock. This is me telling my story. Y'all be uncomfortable by it. Y'all being uncomfortable by it does not make it a gimmick. This is for me and my fans. Fuck everybody else. And here's the gag. I'm with him on this because any other time I'd have been like, okay, you doing so much. And I did say that when he did that last song with the Jesus and all that stuff, and then he went and started backpedaling. But I didn't know that the bread and the wine meant this, and I didn't know. I was like, child, now how you putting all these visuals and shit, and you don't even know what the hell it means? Which made me think that this was your team probably trying to get you to come up with something controversial, stuff because religious is controversial, religious gets people riled up, so let's use that to, get people interested in this era, and that song flopped. And I'm not saying like, and it was a good video. The song just wasn't giving what needed to be given. And that's why I feel like it flopped. But for the most part, what I found hilarious is the fact that, look, this is not what that is. Number one, he is an openly gay rapper. Why can't he talk about the fact that he was on Grindr as a kid and he was feeding for dick in high school and he was slipping dudes in and out of certain places and he was having sex? Quiet as it's kept, a lot. I love that he's saying this because a lot of young people do this. A lot of y'all kids, you better check their phone because a lot of these boys do be lying about their age and sneaking on Grindr and all the other stuff, hooking up for boys. When I was that age, and I'm from an era long before internet was interneting. Like I'm a child of the 90s, 80s and 90s. I was out here having when I was little not well, I was gonna say I can't say what his age was because I don't know what his age was. But when I was like 15, 16, I was having sex with guys that were in their 30s. I was. I was out here going through my situation, horny as fuck, and beeping. And I know that is a problem. I'm not saying I'm proud of it or whatever, but like you live and you learn from situations. There are a lot of older men that like that whole young boy type of vibe when it comes to that whole pedophilic thing, like I said. And it was like I was going out like to parks and I was going out and having sex with older men and doing all kinds of crazy shit, going in the hotel rooms and fucking. I'm surprised I didn't turn into an all out prostitute, that I wasn't profiting and making money from that shit because I probably could have. But for the most part, it's like I understand it. And why can't somebody who's a young gay man be the person to tell that story? He's first of all one of the first, I would say, and only gay young black men who is playing in a mainstream space of hip hop. So of course he's gonna be the one to tell that story. Now we've had other rappers like Fly Young Red came out with a song called "Throw That Boy Pussy." Y'all don't know who that is because he's more of an underground queer artist. Cakes the Killer. If you ever listen to any of his music, he's always talking about having sex with like his music is always very much talking about same sex relationships and having sex with guys and one night stands and all the other stuff. But because Little Nas X is the only artist that a lot of these mainstream people know, and I see what y'all be doing when y'all post these things up on the Neighborhood Talk and all the other black blogs who shroud themselves in homophobia and love to eat up the homophobic bullshit. I'm not surprised that y'all would have that energy and feel like that. It's about, oh, it's a gimmick. Y'all doing too much. To me, that's a lazy read. That's something that y'all so quick to run up to and say that, this is all for attention. I don't feel like this is. I feel like, you know what, this is a young kid who's gonna express himself. But also I feel like this hurts Nas because so much of his career has been shrouded in doing things for attention that I'm not surprised that some people will come out and say those things and automatically be like, oh, you doing too much. Oh, you doing this for attention. But what is too much? First of all, Women have been talking about they pussy and stuff for the longest. Guys be up in here talking about holes in different area codes and all this other stuff, but y'all have no problem with that. But the minute a gay man comes out and wants to talk about all the dick he was getting when he was younger, all of a sudden y'all have a problem with it. Just because you uncomfortable with it doesn't mean that it's not true. And I do love that he's shining a light on this because there's so many gay men. Should I say men? But I'm talking about, I guess, my generation, generations before that, and before that, and before that, and people Little Nas X age, and probably still is going through that. When they're going through that whole daddy situation where there's like young boy having sex with an older man and getting the thing because in heterosexual households you're not going to learn how to be how to be a gay man and navigate in a lot of those spaces. That's why I tell my story so that way it's like the young kids they're with well. First of all, my YouTube videos is not for kids. It has the thing on it, so kids ain't gonna find this video unless somebody share it, record it, or put it somewhere. But for the most part, look, I know a lot of kids out here who be having grinder profiles, and it's like, I am not going to jail for you, no sir. I'm not sleeping with no little boy. I'm not doing that other stuff because that's crazy. Like some of y'all kids out here be real bold with it, but I get it. It's like to me, it's like we're more in a digital era because of this situation. But older kids, my generation, and I'm sure, you know, Gen Z, no, not even Gen Z. I would say millennials, Gen X, and many before that. They were all, since the dawn of time, but long before the digital age, a lot of young boys was out here who were closeted and trying to figure themselves out, were looking to older men for that guidance, and were also having sex with older men because they're at that age of this innocence, desirability, all of that other stuff, which is I think turns a lot of older men on too. So Nas, I will say this. I got your back on this. I totally agree with you. And you know what? People are gonna hate on what they hate on, and fuck them. You don't always have the answer to. Don't turn into Cardi B where you feel like you got to answer for every little thing that people hate you on. You're always gonna have people who hate you on the things that you do and all that other stuff. Just keep doing you. You make your music because you can't please everybody. Just please yourself, please your fans, and whatever music you put out there, I'm sure if you lose fans over this, you'll gain some more because artists always do that. Fandom ebbs and flows. Okay, so oh, so Sailor Mermaid says he just got in. How you doing? How you doing? Well, we're talking about Little Nas X, talking about his whore days when he was young. Okay, so we got two more topics. I feel like this is a short show today because there's not a lot going on. But me with me being busy over the weekend, um, I was like, I got to give everybody a show. Oh my God, what was that? There was a topic that I was supposed to mention that I totally forgot about. And I think that Robert and I were talking about it. Oh, I think it was what was it? The thing about the whole album situation, that there's this new thing that it seems like a lot of people let me see, because I think he sent it to me in my messages that I wanted to get to. People would just be sending me all kinds of bullshit on. Let me just do a search. Cause I was like, I totally forgot what it was. Why can't I find it? Oh, I got it. Please hold. Oh yeah, so it was basically talking about like this new little gimmick thing that it seems like a lot of people doing. That apparently a lot of fans are upset about the sales tactic of people like Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, and others. Most recently, Ariana Grande did it, and I think Nicki Minaj did it with her new album too. And they talking about that younger music fans are upset with people who pay for Spotify, but they're releasing album versions where you have to go to the web store and you have to purchase the web store physical or digital version of their album. So like if you go on, I guess, Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, you're not getting the same version of the album. You're getting like some specially designed or crafted or well put together version of the same album. And to me, it's like physical copies. Like there's very few people that are still out here buying physical media. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of the industry is not really supporting physical media. Like I see so many YouTubers who are online talking about the death of physical media, and not necessarily music, but they're talking about the death of physical media in the form of like DVDs. And once upon a time, I did purchase like. I used to buy movies, buy CDs. I tell y'all all the time when I was growing up, I lived in the Virgin Mega store. the one on 14th Street in Union Square, and then I also lived in the one in Times Square, which was the main one that if you ever watched TRL back in the day, where all the artists would go across the street and do their albums, release signings and other stuff. And what I used to love about going to the Virgin Mega Store, they used to have like the little section up against the wall where you could put the headphones on, kind of like these that I got on my head, and you could get a sneak peek of like new albums coming out. So it'd be like the latest Madonna album, like Madonna's Music, for example, or Cher's Believe album. That was like how I first heard Cher's album. I wasn't sure if I was gonna buy that album. I was like, if Believe is the only good song of this album, I'm not gonna buy it. So I actually went to the booth and I listened to the album, like skipped and listened. I was like, oh, this shit is good. And that's when I bought it. Because I had some bops on there. And it's still like a really good record. So I'm glad she went dance. But anyway, so I do feel like what was stated was that this whole idea behind that is a bit outdated. You're trying to force your fans to buy physical copies of something, but it's like, what out? Okay, so I have the physical copy, right? But how do I listen to it when? I mean, I'm sure they're still making CDs somewhere, but no kid is gonna be walking around with a damn CD player and headphones plugged in with Duracell batteries in the bottom, listening to Ariana Grande's latest. Or they'd have to be in their house, and if your parents still have like a boom box or something that you could put it in there, but how are they gonna listen to it? Everybody listens to stuff on their phones. I listen to stuff on my iPhone. I have Apple Music. I do have Spotify also, but because I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff on Spotify. I don't really listen to music on Spotify. I listen to a lot more podcasts and things. So I listen to music on Apple Music. Like I don't buy physical copies anymore. I would like to, but like I said before, no stores are selling it. I would have to go online and go to their website and buy it and then have it shipped. And then it's basically just a collector's item. So I don't know. I feel like the industry as a whole needs to figure out what they need to do in order to get people to kind of come in and buy these things instead of, forcing people to spend something on something that is, in my opinion, outdated. I was like trying to figure out. I say I had to cut that off before I get to these next topics or whatever. And then, so I was trying to say, was that it? Oh, and then was also mentioning something, or yeah, because it was like sort of 5 or 6 variants of the same album. That's why I said Nicki Minaj is doing the same thing with Pink Friday too. Taylor Swift was doing it. All these. It's like, can you just, if you're gonna release the album, release the album. That's why I love like what Denis Villeneuve said about Doom 2, because they were asked, oh, is there gonna be an extended version, kind of like the Snyder cut, which there really was never a Snyder cut. They basically went in and shot some extended scenes that add into the already existing cut. So he said it's like cutting, aborting. Well, he didn't say aborting a baby. I'll say that's what it's like, killing your baby or whatever the case was. So he was like, I'm not, what the movie is that you see in the theater is basically the final product. It's not going to be 5 different versions of this movie. I wish they would do that with music too, because it's like, I'm not buying 6 versions of your album. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's one of my favorite artists. I'm not buying all these goddamn collector's items and just having it sitting around. Because with me, I think it was that I was moving around so much over the years that I couldn't really keep up with physically, because I'm like, okay, who's gonna be carrying all these extra boxes and stuff? And I don't be really having a whole lot of people to help me move places. So I'm like, okay, I'm buying all this physical media. Where the hell am I putting it? So that's why I stopped. And I'm just kind of, me living the gypsy life for so many years, I just opted not to constantly be always out here spending money on like DVDs, CDs, that sort of thing. Now I will buy a physical copy of a book, but it really depends on who the artist is. So I do keep up in that way. And what he was also saying was that not a lot of people even go to concerts because the more popular the artist, and I do agree, like the more expensive they become, and hence Bad Bunny. When we were talking about that, Bad Bunny spent charging all this money for his concert. You got Beyonce and Taylor Swift; they're charging all this money for concerts, and it's like people are really out here being real selective with who they're going to be supporting because times is hard. Just like we heard that Coachella ain't really making no money, and it's like I totally get it because it used to be this one thing, but now it's become so popular, and now it's become this thing where celebrities go that it's just like it's not a fun place to be anymore. And plus, who want to be going in and out of them nasty ass porta potties and dealing with sod and nasty ass being in the dirt and you stinking all day? Anybody got time for that? And it's hot because you're in the desert. So I think that's all I want to say on that. It said November of 2025 for part two of. Oh, okay. So wait, they're gonna make people wait a whole year. They better hope. They better hope Wicked Part One makes enough money for people to care. So Ariana broke Spotify record for single day streams with over 58 million. Well, good for her. So Melissa Barrera will return to screen, but not under. Yeah, that was there was a rumor that that was something she allegedly said at a comic convention, but nobody can verify if that was actually true. But if that's what they were saying, and I see a lot of the YouTubers like Drum Dums, who I Lee, shout out to Lee, I do talk to him every now and again, and who was it? Because we talk a lot on Twitter, and then I'll comment on his YouTube videos, and then also Critical Overlord. I sort of mentioned something about that too. But in regards of like Melissa Barrera and Scream, I do agree. I feel like Spyglass, I said that before. They need to sell the rights because I don't feel like, regardless of what they do with that franchise, I just don't feel like people are gonna actually go and support it. I don't feel like, maybe, those of you who aren't really paying attention to what's going on in the celebrity news and gossip space will sit and support it because, you're just going to go see a horror movie and it's Scream. It's something familiar. I know what that is. That movie came out 20 some odd years ago. So I'm going to go and support Scream because it is what it is. But for the most part, I feel like regardless of what they do, I don't see the hardcore Scream fans going to support it. And if they do, you know, I feel like they're gonna either A, hate watch it, or they're gonna wait and to see like if the YouTubers who do all their little Scream videos are gonna go and see it, and then they'll see what they think. So I'm like, I would love for Spyglass to sell the rights, but I don't think they will because the last two Scream movies, particularly Scream 6, even without Nev Campbell, made the franchise the most money it's ever made in all of the films, like throughout its theatrical run. So with that, that's what they're looking at. And Quiet as It's Kept, I don't think that Spyglass has a lot of films on their roster. They have the Scream franchise, they have the sequel to Thanksgiving coming, which hopefully Eli Roth hires another writer to help him because those characters were so not memorable. Like they were their their um their backstory was about as thin as Donald Trump's hairline. Like y'all needed something a little or Stephen A. Smith's hairline because that should come all the way back here. So I just felt like they could have given a little, better, but they're not going to sell the rights because they made too much money from that. And then I also heard they're doing a Knight Rider remake or something or another. So we'll see what that is. And A24, in my opinion, is the best franchise. I mean, the best studio that's been giving us quality horror movies. Because Blumhouse, child, I've been here, like, Blumhouse been giving a bunch of bullshit. First of all, I heard that new movie, Imaginary, which I'm not surprised, was terrible. I heard it's a horrible ass movie. So don't waste your money. But I'm like, why are y'all surprised? First of all, the movie that came before that, what was that? The one with the people, the ghosts in the pool? Heard that was terrible, but it looked terrible. Blumhouse hasn't given us a good damn movie in years. Even Halloween wasn't that great. So I'm not surprised. And usually I don't trust in anything that I haven't really supported Blumhouse in years. So Jason Blum and the rest of y'all over there, Ryan Turek, y'all need to get that shit together. And so Robert says that's what her Thanksgiving, besides Eli Roth having an association with Spyglass, and then his opinions about the whole Israel Hamas conflict hurt him as well. Smile too. I have to say, y'all might hate me for saying this, but I didn't even like Smile. I watched it and I liked the concept. And there were certain parts of the movie that was creepy, but overall, I didn't particularly care for the movie. I just thought it was just overly hyped. But I do like Kyle Gallner. I always thought it was something remotely sexy about him. You know what he gives me? He kind of gives me like that same vibe as um what's his name? From oh my god, Jeremy Allen White. That's what he gives me. He kind of gives me like that, like not necessarily awkward beauty, but it's like he's a little rough around the edges. I don't know. I think I like guys like that's a little rough around the edges. They look like you know, they like being choked during sex. Like that's what he kind of gets. But but yeah, so there's that. Okay, so Let me move on. But I will see. Look, I already saw the first smile, so I need to see what Smile 2 is giving. So I may actually see it regardless. Okay, so let's get into this topic about Northwest Child coming out with her debut album. So Northwest, the daughter of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, is said to do something her father has been struggling to do for months with Vultures 2, release her debut album, Elementary School Dropout. Well, obviously, it's a play on her father's college dropout and all that other stuff. Now, after making her official musical debut on Vulture's One Cut Talking, everyone's bestie, Miss Westie, aka Northwest, is readying her debut album. Now, she joined Ye at last night's Vulture's 2 listening party, revealing her first ever LP dubbed Elementary School Dropout is on the way. Now, North took to the stage next to her father at Sunday's Phoenix listening party to make the announcement and reveal the project's title, which pays homage to her father's storied debut album, The College Dropout. Saying, I've been working on an album, she begins as the crowd roars. It's called Elementary School Drop. Well, of course they're going to applaud because who they're in the room with. Now, they said this isn't North's first Vultures listening party. The 10-year-old has been shown out at a slew of Vultures events thus far, making the stage perform talking on occasion. She delivers a dynamic performance of the song at the Phoenix event, with Ye bringing out her siblings Psalm and Chicago as she sang. Now, so far, there are no details on her debut album and when it's getting released, but when it comes out, I'll let y'all know. Now, all I'm going to say on this is this. I don't want to speak ill of the children, so I'm going to be as positive as I possibly can with how I feel about this tea. At least she's following her father's footsteps instead of her mother's. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But didn't once upon a time Raven Simone do the same thing? Except Raven Simone was capitalizing over being a young actress and doing all this a bunch of other stuff. And then she came out with an album where it had "That's What Little Girls Are Made Of" and a whole bunch of other songs. I know because I actually, and I'm not gonna lie, I did buy that album, had that CD, and I used to listen to it when I was in school. Because I like Raven Simone. And I was like, well, these songs are really good. So I doubt she wrote them songs. If she did, I would be surprised. But look, this is not my demo. This is not my judge with what she has. There is an audience out there for a Northwest debut album. I don't know if y'all got if any parents is watching, whatever, if y'all got kids that are willing to support and listen to a Northwest album. Can you even see her like doing a tour? I feel like if she does, what's probably going to happen is, but I don't know if that would be a good look though. She would be an opening act for her father on his Vultures tour if that ever happens. First of all, I don't even think, you know, her father can get booked anywhere because I was hearing there was a story that came out, even with Vultures 2 struggling to actually come out and get released, that there are venues that don't want to mess with Kanye because of stuff he said about the Jews. And they're feeling like he's anti-Semitic. So a lot of these arenas and companies and stuff that house tours don't want to work with him. So I don't know what he's going to do in regards to like trying to make some money if he's planning on getting out there to tour. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, because even with the designs and all the stuff that he's been doing, he don't own any of this stuff from Adidas, and so he's got a lot of stuff going on with that, and it's just crazy. But look, she's a girl of privilege. She feels that she's got the talent to come out here and release an album. I am curious to hear what the music sounds like though, because I'm nosy. But for the most part, I'm just like, okay, good for you, sis. Um, and no shade, I would rather listen to a Blue Ivy album before I listen to a Northwest album. But that's just me. But like I said, this ain't my demo. This is not, something that I would actually like listen to. I'm not the audience for that. But if you like it, I love it, sis. So good luck to you, daughter. Okay, so let's get to our final topic. And let's talk about Drea, because we talked about this the other day, but I was like, we need to give a follow-up. So 39-year-old basketball wild star Drea Michelle was dragged on social media after she decided to choose International Women's Day to announce that she's pregnant with a 22-year-old Houston Rocket star Jalen Green's baby. But apparently she's unbothered, but so unbothered she had to take to social media to let y'all know she's unbothered. So, according to Page Six, Dre Michelle, who announced her pregnancy with Jalen Green on Friday, posted a quote about being misunderstood after facing backlash due to the couple's 17-year age gap, saying, "Get comfortable being misunderstood. Only a fraction of people will be able to truly grasp your essence. You are not on anyone else's timeline of comprehension. Neither are you, because first of all, what the hell does a 39-year-old have in common with a 22-year-old? And that goes for both sides. That goes for a woman with a boy, a man with a girl. Well, 22, I guess you're considered woman and a man because you're over 21, right? So they automatically consider you adults. Some at 18, some younger than that. I think some at 16 you're considered an adult, depending on which state you are in the United States. So with that being said, um, what the hell is a 39-year-old, a woman pushing 40 with like maybe an egg left from being, one egg away from being powdered, got, in common with a 22-year-old? Like I said, 22-year-olds so have you're happy you can actually bag an older woman because that's always a fantasy when it comes to young guys that, oh yeah, you could bag somebody that's older. That's always been like something that's been indoctrinated in a lot of people's minds. If you could bag somebody that's older, that's like, almost like a rite of passage. And not only that, but you know what? The wind blow and the boys did get hard at that age. So I'm not surprised that they would do something like this. And look, here's the thing. Like I think one of the comments said in the article, you know, you can fuck around with a 22-year-old, make him a little boy toy. Y'all have lots of great sex. He wear you out because, once you get older, you get at that peak period where you're like horny and full of energy and all that other stuff. But not like your libido dies out when you're 40. I always heard it gets greater later when it comes to your sexuality and hormones and wanting to keep up with these, the men. And so I mean, and then you got the young boys that just be so damn horny. They just be, going on and on and on. But he should have put a damn condom on. And I do see people out here really giving it to Drea, saying like, "Oh, she's, a creep and all this other stuff." But it takes two to tango. Nobody put a gun to his head and told him to have sex with this girl. But at the same, I mean, this woman. But at the same time, she's old enough to know better because you've been around and you from experience, with being around with a lot of men and being around the world and all this other stuff, what to do. He's young and still just like learning, and people at 22 are pretty much naive. But also, you should have known that as the second you grow, you start developing sperm in them balls, that there's a probability that, if you're having unsafe sex, that your girl's gonna get pregnant. And she also posted, because we posted the carousel of maternity pics, on the day of International Women's Day. And she said a whole bunch of other stuff. I really don't care with the whole thing that she said in homage to her daughter, but I'm gonna read some of the comments from the people. So, what they said that Washington Wizards star Kyle Kuzma tagged Green and Michelle in his congratulatory comment because she didn't even mention or tag or share the name of the baby daddy. And so he put, "It's up family at Jalen, at Dre, and Michelle." Now, some of the people said 17 years is wild. Having fun with a younger guy is cool because y'all both grown. Having a baby by one that's the same age as your son speaks a lot about your character as a person. And this is what former Basketball Wives star Megan James tweeted. And it said, "Oh, Drea really thought posting her pregnancy reveal during Women's Month meant that we were going to congratulate and celebrate her." That's what another fan wrote. "Drea really tried to use International Women's Day to announce her pregnancy as if we don't know she was a deadbeat to her first son and is now pregnant by a 22-year-old who's the same age as her son while she pushing 40. And so, child, everybody was going in on her about, this whole thing, and rightfully so. And look, she has a 21-year-old son named Nico. We don't know who the father of that child is, but her 7-year-old son, Drew, she shares him with former NFL star Orlando Scandrick. So Drea has a type. Drea's like one of those, model slash video hoes that just, they know running up on some man and trying to look for using kids as financial currency. There are some people out here who do that, unfortunately. That, you know, they go out there and they use, like I said. Okay, so I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So, I said I always find it funny when people say that they're unbothered by the criticism, but then they go on social media to post cryptic messages and those other stuff, or saying that, people, I'm on a different playing field and I'm on a different wavelength and those other stuff. Like, girl, don't, please don't try to act like you're way more intelligent. Because, first of all, Drea always gave me airhead, bobblehead tease, like she's just less than smart. I've always kind of got that vibe from her, like she got a lot of saline up in that brain. And then, most of the and if you saw, like, when we talked about it on the last episode, and I was reading out some of the comments on her own IG, people was reading her. It was more negative comments than positive. And yeah, at some point she gives me got 'em tease, and how the way she pursues men, and how she would go after famous men to get pregnant by them as a way of financial currency, which a lot of women in this industry do. At the end of the day, in my opinion, it takes two to tango, and he has to have known the risks and knowing what he was going to get himself into when you get with the likes of a woman. If you're going to have sex with anybody unprotected, especially if you're heterosexual, you do know that sperm and an egg make a baby, that you are going to get a woman pregnant. There is a high chance of that happening. So, um, while y'all could hit up with them strange, I need to hit him too. But I do notice that the misogyny of the whole situation, y'all all going to give it to Drea based off of Drea's reputation. So there's that. Over her years of being a basketball wise and us following her. Okay, so Sailor Mermaid says, outside of hookups, what does someone older have in common with someone younger? Like, where is the mental maturity? And that's why I said, like, regardless of a woman with a man with a woman, or a man with a man, or a girl with a girl, what do you have in common? If you're 40, 39, 40, 45, 50, hooking up with a 22-year-old, hooking up with a 24-year-old, hooking up with a 30-year-old, what do y'all have in common? Except knowing what it is. That is, this is nothing more than a fling. And maybe that's what Jalen thought when he was getting with her. But if that's what he thought, then maybe what he should have did was wrap it up and not assume that, oh, she's on the pill. Because, you get girls out here that poke holes in condoms, that will deliberately get pregnant from these athletes, musicians, whatever the case, if they know you got a whole lot of money. Because what I heard was that, I was trying to see, because I do believe that I had, like, the amount of what. Oh, so it said that Jalen Green signed a 4-year, $40.8 million contract with the Houston Rockets in 2021. So when you start Googling schmoogling and you looking to see how much somebody is worth, of course, she's gonna get to that point where you in the submarine, you're looking for your target, and it's like, got him. And all of a sudden, I'm gonna go after this boy because he's dumb, young, dumb, and full of cum. And I'm older, so I know how to play the game because I've been around long enough. When you go to them industry parties, you know how to get them hook, line, and sinker. So I'm not surprised that she will pull this stunt, but I feel like he's dumb because he didn't think things through. And if she's not tagging the boy because because she's pregnant, I do wonder if they're still together. But I did see a photo of her at a game, so I'm assuming that they are. She was like courtside or whatever, walking by or whatever. So I'm wondering, like, they might still be, you know, they might still be in a relate. They might still be together. But anyway, I was just reading a text from my um. Ooh, I'm reading a text from my mother. It's talking about when I go to the doctor, have them check my heart for murmurs. Because apparently there's some type of situation that runs in my family. But it's like there's always some type of issues. I got high blood pressure. There's cancer that runs in my family. There's, they said they got now there's heart murmurs and asthma and thyroid. I actually had asthma when I was a kid, but I outgrew it. But sometimes I be feeling like after that little COVID situation that I had, that I be having shortness of breath and stuff still. So I'm like, so I shouldn't be reading my text messages while I'm alive. But anyway, so yeah, there's that. So anyway, we're at the end of the show. It was short and sweet. We did for once. I did a show I was gonna say under 2 hours, but I think the last show that we did was kind of short too. But yeah, it wasn't a lot going on. I was like, let me just hit up on the Oscars and all of what else is doing and all this other stuff, and see what's going on out there. And yeah, I had to give y'all a show because I didn't give y'all one on, what was it, over the weekend. So I was like, yeah, let me give y'all one today. So anyway, thank you all for watching this latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you are still online in the live stream, hit that like button, that notification button, and that subscribe button, so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I also want to thank all of it, yeah, because it's free, and like my love, it won't cost you a thing, as I always say. So you know what? It helps with the algorithm. It helps push this show out further on YouTube, because I am gaining an audience, and I have been gaining a lot of followers ever since. So I do thank everybody who is liking the show, subscribing to the show, and leaving their love and support and commenting and all that other stuff, and leaving me private messages, or even commenting in the comments, or commenting during the live stream. So once again, and if you're on the Twitter, definitely hit that like button and share if you can, if you want. There's no pressure. But yeah, so once again, thank you all for watching. Love you all, and until next time, ciao, darlings.